Travis, thank
Yeah.
you for joining us today on our podcast. I I'll reiterate kind of what I was saying earlier is that I got to talk to you a lot last year at this conference and ended up writing an article about you because I got to say you're a really interesting guy and you've done a lot of interesting things, and it was like breakfast or lunch or something that we were sitting down and just normal table introductions, and then we start talking about your flex space, and then you start going into kind of all these avenues of what you're doing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy has been there and done that, and so you're full of gems. I'm excited to dive into a little bit of that here today. So what really has grabbed me about your story is this theme of one foot in front of the other. And I think if people look at what you have now, the portfolio that you have, the streams of revenue that you've developed, that you've created over the years, it might seem out of reach, like unattainable, and like, oh, I can't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. But you didn't start that way. You weren't
No, no, no.
you weren't born into a family that had all this before. It's like you've built this just one step at a time. So kind of maybe take me back to the beginning and how this progression has been.
Yeah. So basically, I've been in excavation for almost 27 years now. Worked for my dad's company. In 2016, he retired. My brother and I bought him out.
Mm-hmm.
And since 2001, though, I've been in the real estate on the side. I used to build spec houses. We moved 19 times in 19 years. I have a family of 10 kids. We flipped our houses and we kind of kept pooling up a snowball of money on the side, and we took very little of that during that since 2001. Very little. We just snowballed it and kept pushing it to the next deal. I had my day job. To this day, I have a W-2 income from a company that I own in excavation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the end of this year, we're going to sell that company on the contract to a couple of our employees. But the thing is, the real estate's been a side job. And so my wife and I have been doing these. We were buying lots for $8,000 at times. Uh, we'd build a little tiny house on it. We'd move in, we'd put for sale, we'd sell. And so that's the kind of stuff we started doing early on. And from like 2016 on, we started getting into bigger deals. My brother and I, when we partnered in the excavation, we started getting into some bigger land deals and flipping stuff, and started making some pretty good money, I guess you could say. Today, my brother and I, in our flex space, we have around 30 million plus actively operating right now, and we just started a project that's costing us 30 plus million to build it in 3 phases. We're most of the way through the first phase right now. That's over $9 million build, counting the land for the first phase. That's all been on the side. I still got my day job, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been a fun ride, but there's been so many troubles along the way. Financing is one thing. We come to these events, and often I wish that people would sit up there and talk about their journey of their financing these deals.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a journey, you know. Nobody talks about it. I wish they would. How'd they get financing? What was all the problems they ran into? You don't hear much about it. So if you can find people that have had quite a journey in financing, that'd be pretty powerful for people to hear them stories, to know that there's actually hope. You can get financing.
Mm-hmm.
If people hear real life things, they'd be inspired to not give up. I mean, I could go on for days on financing.
Tell me
We
a
don't have
story.
time in this right now, but
Tell me one of your financing stories.
so we built a storage facility. We it was in the early days of 2020. We It was an 80,000 square foot facility, first facility we've ever. Well, we hired our general contractor to
Mm-hmm.
build it for us, but we put the whole package together and went out and got financing, and we had financing in place. And so what happened is we were ready to start the project. We had $1 million of steel ordered and on the way within a few weeks to land on that project. and our financing got pulled. The banker said, we're not sure what's going to happen. It just don't look good out there. She was scared to death, basically, is what she was. Anyway, we lost that financing. So we crawled back to our community bank and to a loan officer that we have a relationship with from some past deals. And she's like, why do you think we'd give you the financing if they didn't do it for you in these times we're in? So I told her the same story. Either you're going to live or you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to win either way. What do you have to lose? And so she says, well, why don't I get our CEO of the bank out to your shop, my boss's boss. Why don't we just come out and visit? They come out there with a mask from here to here. And we're just walking around visiting. The CEO's asking, what are you trying to build? You know, we're telling them about the storage project. And within 15 minutes, he pulls the business card out of his pocket and gives it to me and shakes my hand. Says, let's get the deal done. He looks at our banker and says, get it done. I want this guy.
Whoa.
I looked at our banker and she turned beet red. I looked at her and I'm like, so you've been holding me up? And she goes, I just haven't turned it in yet. I haven't quite put the package all together. I'm like, okay. Within 2 weeks, we were fully funded and we built the whole project, 80,000 feet. We got it done and then we added on, I think about 12,000 feet of RV storage, because that was all just your regular 8-foot tall drive up, outdoor, drive up, roll up doors. And so we added on the end of the property 16 units of RV storage. So it made it 92,000 feet, the whole facility. So it took 3 years, about a year for the build, design and build and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We hired West Coast Self Storage out of Seattle to do third-party management for us when we opened up. Great company, did an awesome job. They managed it for 2 years for us. We sold it and cleared over 6.3 million in profits 2 years later. Plus we got her about, I think we had about 1.3 million, 1.2 cash injection into the project to borrow money back.
Mm-hmm.
And that bank that didn't believe in the deal, it's unbelievable is what I'm trying to say. That same bank that turned us down on that situation is now financed a $9+ million deal for us today. Different loan officer in a different city, but the same bank.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to say is, it's not the bank entity, it's the individual you work with in the bank. That person has to have the vision and to be able to see what you're trying to achieve. If he can't see it, he'll never get it approved for you. This person that turned down the storage project just couldn't see it.
And it's also, I mean, it's that absolutely, but it's your relentless pursuit of making it happen. We were talking last night, and you were mentioning that on another the easement that you were mentioning with your neighbor on one of the land deals that you have.
Oh yeah.
That you knew, you didn't know how, but you knew that you were going to make that work in some way, some form. You knew that you're going to make that work, and so it's like that relentless part of your personality, I think, is something to note as well.
The number one thing is never give up.
Mm-hmm.
You almost got to be willing to die trying. If you can't quite get there, you might as well stay and do $100,000 house flips or something. You have to push and believe so strong into the project that you're in, that when the financing piece, let's say, comes along and cuts you off, You have to have such belief in that project that you're going to pull it back together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else you would do it. I don't know. If someone knows, tell me. I
Yeah.
wish I knew.
And it's cool to talk to you now at this point in your career and in what you've done. But what was that aha moment for you? Because I know you love every little bit of the journey here, and so that's important. That's important is to love and to have a passion for all of this because just like that financing situation, it's not always going to be pretty. And so if you love
Yeah.
it, you can work through that. But what was that aha moment for you where you're like, I'm getting paid to do this cool thing called real estate?
You know, I would say it might have already been like 10 years into it almost.
Okay.
I looked at my wife one day and just said, and this was before we even got into the commercial real estate.
Mm.
We were like buying cheap land, just outside of our city and land that no one wanted and would build a spec house, would sell it, would make decent money, 30, 50,000 bucks. And this is like in 2010, 2009 and stuff. And I thought it was, and this is all side money. And I just remember pretty soon all of a sudden we like built the house cash and and I'm like, what happened? Because my day job did not bring me this. My day job bought my groceries and fed our kids, bought clothes for the kids and everything. That's all I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just reality of a typical day job. And we're doing this on the side and just kind of like pretty soon I had hundreds of thousands to work with. And see, I didn't really the whole time too. I wasn't like, how much do I get for me or anything. I wasn't focused on how much money that I
Mm-hmm.
was playing the game because I loved every single moment of it, and I was just making money as I was doing it. Then I had this big pot, and I was like, well, I'll just build my next house cash. House we're in today, we paid $1 million in cash. Bought it. We paid for it, had it built. Didn't even bat an eye. Every bit of that was done outside of my W-2 job. All that extra cash was accumulated outside my W-2 job. So what I think is anybody can anyone can have a side job that passes up their day job.
Mm-hmm.
I call it a day job. Your side jobs, your night and weekends. Um, I think most people should. You hear a lot about people saying, "No, inflation's hurting me" and all this stuff. I have no idea what they're talking about. I have no idea
Right. Yeah.
because I have a side job. So we have this flex space stuff. We have the excavation business. My wife and I are still doing side jobs outside of all those pieces. I can't get away from a side job. We're doing land flips, land deals right now. We bought a smaller industrial building. We did a value add to and leased it out on a 5-year lease with 2 5-year options. The thing pays premium dollar. It's unbelievable. This is all nights and weekends. This is on the way home from work. We're doing these deals. And people complain about they can't buy groceries. I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Get a side job.
So you've had employees ask you that. I remember you saying that, like, hey, how do we make more money? What do we do? We see that you're doing this and that. How do we do that? And I don't want to quote you, but do you remember what you how you respond to them on that? Because I think that's the question that a lot of people have is how do I do this?
Yeah, well, they need to get a side job.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could buy some land, you could build a house, you can move into it, you can put it for sale while you're there, or you could build this as a spec house. Um, we've done the spec houses, we've done the houses where we had multiple houses we moved into, and I could hardly even afford the payment in the early years, and so we would sell it and we'd make a little bit, and then add a little bit less loan each time because I kept pooling up money. And so but I tell people, it doesn't have to be real estate. You could sell horses. I don't care. What do you have within your body What are your talents that you were born with, that God gave you, not what I told you to do or what Kevin tells you to do? No, what do you know? Go out and use the talents you have. I don't care if you're flipping four-wheelers. I don't care. Use something that you should find it inside you
Mm-hmm.
and go do it nights and weekends. And you will pass up your day job, period. But the problem is, so many people, they want to go home at 4 o'clock and that's it and shut off.
Yep.
You know what? That is fine. And I respect that person just as much. But don't ever complain to me that you can't buy groceries. That's all I ask in favor. I still respect you. I still like you. It's okay. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear complaining though.
Man. Yeah, like that's it. You hit the nail on the head. It's finding what drives you, what you're passionate about, what you're good at. It's taking that experience, and it doesn't matter the form. For you, it was real estate. For somebody else, it might be music. It might be,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever it is.
You just whatever it might be. And the thing is, I'm not really even trying anything. I'm just like doing what I have within me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I'm just like going out and doing my thing every day, and I don't really feel like I made it somewhere or anything. I don't even focus on like yeah, we have plenty of money to work with, but I'm not really even. I'm just kind of like doing my thing
Mm-hmm.
every day, and it's just like over and over, one foot in front of the other for a long period of time, and all of a sudden it just started exploding, you know, and yeah, there was real no magic to it. It was just kind of, I don't know, today's my first day again. Every day is my first day almost. It's just kind of like, doing my thing.
A lot of people say, and I'm in the camp with you because I still have my W-2, right? I'm
Yeah.
I'm still grinding with that because that pays my bills, right? Yeah, that keeps food in the fridge and a roof over my head. Like I need that, right? That's really important. And then I have my side jobs, right? A lot of people are in this camp of burn the boats, get rid of that W-2, go all in, right? That's how you're going to make it. You need to burn the
Yeah.
boats and create that exigency, and
Yeah.
and that's how you be successful. What's your take on that? I mean, I know your take, but I want to hear.
Well, there's no get rich quick thing. I
Right.
mean, it's it's almost like you you're almost guaranteed success. I think if you just consistently put
Mhm.
one foot in front of the other over a long period of time and just never give up, and it just naturally shows up. I wasn't ever striving to be like some top guy, or I'm just an ordinary dyslexic person. All I know is I could see something and I know where what it is in between how I'm getting there. I don't even know. I just know I seen something over there that it's going to work when I get there. I'm not real complex.
So you're saying you're not even worried about the how. You're focused on
No,
the end.
when I see something, I see it.
Okay.
I envision like, okay, I've already done this. I already seen this. I when I see something, I'm like, I visualize the whole thing. I'm like, okay, now I just need to get there. I'm not sure how I'm going to get there, whether it's airplane, by horse and buggy. I don't know, but I'm going to get there, and I just have a confidence that I will get there. But the biggest thing is, I'm going to get there because I'm not going to give up on the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, I think. If you get part way and you give up because it got kind of hard, well, you're not going to quite get there. It's just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hobby for me. When I built houses, we always called it our stress. I called it my stress reliever from my day job. People are like, that's stressful. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just so relieving to go out, take a piece of ground, and visualize something there, then watch it all done.
Mm.
And when it's all done, it's rewarding to me. And that's the way it is with the the flex projects. You look at it starts with the bare piece of ground. Now you built this multi-million-dollar facility. And after that, then it's kind of like, I don't know, can you guys lease this thing out so I can start my next project? It's
Yeah.
like getting it from point A to point B. Now I'm ready to start, now that it's there, I don't want to deal with the tenants or anything. And
Hmm.
that's why we have property management company and broker, doing that stuff for us or a third party or whatever.
Yeah. You're all about the
Yeah.
build. You're actually like kind of a rare breed where like everyone they want that destination, but you actually like you really enjoy the journey, and you're like, how can I get to another journey? And like, oh yeah, like this is cool. I just built this. Like, okay, but let's get to another journey now.
Well, it's the challenge, I think.
Mm.
Trying to, I don't know, just something about it's fun. I look at a lot of people that have hobbies. Some people snowmobile, some people might ski or whatever it might be, and they just do it all the time. Well, that's great. That's just not my hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I call this a hobby. I'd rather do this.
Yeah.
I get just as much fun probably as they're having when they're snowmobiling. I would guess. I don't know. I've snowmobiled. It's not as fun as this.
Yeah.
Maybe they think it's funner. I don't know.
I love that, man. We could. I mean, we have talked for hours in so many different situations, and we could talk so much more on this. I want to kind of come back on a couple really main points that are important for everybody to hear again. That first of all, it's it's about just putting one foot in front of the other, and
Yeah.
so it's been for you. It's been consistency, and knowing that you're going to get there, not because you know how necessarily, but because you're not going to give up. That's not
Yeah.
even on the
Yeah. Yeah.
table.
Yeah. It's just not even an option.
Yeah.
I'll be dead by the time that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't got to worry about making that decision.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple, decision for me.
Yeah. And then the other thing, so I mean that within itself, that's really the key to most of anybody's success is just not giving up. But the last point I want to hit home is you have found something that you love, and
Oh yeah.
that's a hobby. Like you consider it a
I
hobby,
mean,
where people like are stressed out about stuff like that, but you love it, and so that that's something that people need to find is like what lights you up, what's that fire?
yeah. Find what excites them. And the thing is, people are like, oh man, hey, I want to be this or that, and all throughout my life, it's like someone's like, oh, electricians make a lot of money. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I should be an electrician. Well, do you even want to be though? That's the question. I, so what if a certain trade so-called makes all this money or whatever it might be? Who really cares? Do you? Is that what you want to do though? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Find out what you want to do, not what your friends and all these people say you should do, and then do that. You were born. Every person was born with something within them, talents within their body, and I firmly believe it. People can find those talents and use those, and don't try to be somebody else. And if someone don't like you, good. I'm happy for you. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all who we are. Let's just be who we are, and that's it.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah. I I love that. I want to end on that people were born with talents within them, and it's about pulling those out and being authentically themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, it you have to start to get. Oftentimes, people will talk and talk about something till the cows come home, but you have to start to get. Even if you don't know all the pieces of the puzzle, if you don't start, you will never get, and that's a guaranteed fact.
That needs to be the name of your book. You have to start to get. That's it right there. Like you could you could write a novel on that. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of books, I'll throw this out there as the final question. What are you reading right now, or audiobooking or podcasting? whatever form, what's going through your head right now?
Um, I'm not in the middle of a book right at the moment. I've been, I guess there is a Tony Robbins' health book, Life Force. I am listening to that book right now.
Nice.
I only listen to Audible. I'm dyslexic, so I don't read. It's confusing to me to read.
Yeah.
So I listen to Audible, but
Awesome.
I like a lot of real estate books. I've listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad at least 4 times, maybe five. And then
Solid.
just I listen to like the Ken McElroy podcast a fair amount, AJ's podcast, AJ Osborne's podcast.
Mhm.
Um, it kind of depends on the week, I guess. I kind of roll with the flow,
Yeah.
and but I am always listening to something though.
Cool. Travis, you have been awesome. I'm so glad you came on. I'm so thankful. How can people um, get to know you, get a hold of you, check out your flex space? What's the best way?
We have social media for our flex space. It's called Flex Space Business Centers. We have a website, flexspacebusinesscenters.com. Um, yeah, I guess those would be two ways to look
Cool.
us up. If you get to the social media, you'll get to the website too. So
Nice. Instagram, Facebook, all that.
Instagram and Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah,
Travis, thank you. Appreciate you.
you bet. All right.